Come along with us as we dive into the fascinating world of sound, exploring its many dimensions, blending the best of both worlds to uncover the secrets of sound, voice, and vibration. Welcome, everybody, to this edition of Conversations, Bridging Science and Spirituality in Sound Therapy. And today I have with me my colleague, Bertharis Lantigua, and I'm very, very grateful to her. Bertharis and I actually had this brainchild, I think I said that in the last video, to record and post some of our conversations, because we'll get on, just to reconnect. And we're always saying, we should be recording this because some of the stuff that we're talking about, I think, is very relevant to not only people who are sound therapists, but just all of us in general, because we are all so profoundly affected by sound, voice, and vibration. And I want to welcome today my friend, dear friend Bertharis, and just this is a totally unscripted. We're just having a talk. That's all. We're just talking about our experiences. So welcome everyone, and welcome Bertharis.
Oh, thank you, Ruth. This is so exciting, and yes, finally getting some recording ins to share our experiences and our one-to-ones, our private group events, and just our beliefs, right, in vibrational sound therapy and in this field of energy.
Definitely. And Bertharis is also a Reiki practitioner as well. She makes amazing, amazing sprays. Okay. And I mean, what would you call them? Essential oil sprays?
Essential oil blends to help with different emotions, energies, and I actually have one here. And this is like a grounding spray, and not to promote myself at all here. I'm just things that help me. And everything started with tools that would assist me. So that's how these sprays came about, in using essential oils and how they helped me to focus, to concentrate, to be more grounded, centered, and also to help me with any nervousness, anxiety. So they really have helped me in that capacity.
Yes, beautiful. And but you're very, I was just saying how creative you are. You create such beautiful things. So do check her out. She has a brand new website, and we will put a link for that website in the description later on. So I wanted to just start off the conversation basically to share that I think we are not as aware as we could be about the profound effects of vibration and sound and our voice. And I think that our, especially those frequencies that we cannot see, right? And I just saw this morning, as a matter of fact, my husband showed me. Have you seen what the Schumann resonance is doing lately?
No, I haven't. I kind of been disconnected a bit from it, but please share.
For the Schumann resonance, they call that the frequency of the earth, and it has to do with the frequencies within I believe it's called the ionosphere of the earth, created by the lightning strikes. And people are saying that there are other influences coming from, the universe to planet Earth that affect the Schumann resonance. Could also be up from the earth as well. I'm not sure. I have no idea. But the bottom line is that it had been for many, many years somewhere hovering around 7-8 hertz. And now it's like spiking like up over 100 and even higher. And last night they said that it was for 8 hours solid, way, way high. And last night I had a really hard time sleeping. And I had a lot of, women my age sometimes will have these lovely hot flashes. I had a lot of those last night, way more than usual. And then Jim showed me the Schumann resonance. So it's like, how would we not think that we are so affected by all these unseen things that we don't even know about yet,
Yeah.
even the ones we know about and the ones we don't know about, right? So
yes. Yes.
How could we
And
not be affected by all of this? We're creatures of the universe, of the earth, of nature.
yeah, definitely. And speaking of hot flashes, I, I had one last night and the night before too. So yeah, something is definitely happening. I do witness a rise in consciousness and awareness in the collective and people who come for one-to-one sessions. That has increased. I would say it has doubled for me in the past 2 years, especially people just exploring Reiki, which has been around for a long time too, but people are ready. They want to know more of what these modalities are: Reiki, vibrational sound therapy, just anything that will help them elevate them, right? To bring into their lives. And like you said, this connection with nature. And this is also something that I'm gaining more of an awareness, especially last year with just how, light therapy, how frequency from the light, and how that is vital, not just for the trees and the plants, but we are nature. So being more connected and tuned in that way as well.
Yeah, most definitely. Speaking of the sun, and I know, there's a lot of everybody, it's like within what do they say? Everything in balance, or everything in, what's that?
Moderation.
Everything in
Yes.
moderation. Thank you. Right. You don't want to get beat red from the sun and get burnt, which I've
No,
done
no.
many times in my teens. I was a sun worshiper. Uh, but definitely, excuse me, yesterday morning woke up, was so depleted. And I had done 2 back-to-back sound events. That definitely could have been it, but it could also have been the Schumann resonance, who knows. But what I did was I sat outside with my cup of coffee in the sun for probably 25 minutes, because now here in the Northeast, we don't it's, the sun isn't very strong yet. It felt so good. And then I went and I took my shoes off, my slippers off, and I grounded. I stood in the earth and I just stood there and I watched the birds, and I felt so much better after like probably an hour of being outside. And just because it was a beautiful day, it was like 60s, right?
Oh
Yesterday.
gosh, yes,
It's
it was
absolutely
amazing.
stunning
It was
day.
bliss.
That bliss, yes. But the feeling, just to take in that energy, from both from the sun and from the earth, it was like I knew my body knew what I needed, and all I could think about was go outside, go
Yes,
outside. I was getting
yes,
this message.
yeah. Because we know innately, we know what we need, and the sun is so vital, nature is so vital, and we have all of these energy centers, portals, which they're called chakras. And our hands are amazing energy portals, and so are our feet. So earthing and grounding. And I see it as our feet are these plugs, these outlets.
Mhm.
And being in nature, we're plugging ourselves in to the frequency, the energy of the earth, and absorbing that through this plug, which is charging us up energetically.
Yeah, earthing and grounding is there's tons of science behind it, tons of experiential evidence behind it, because we're electrical beings. We are electrical beings. And when you stand on the earth in bare feet or in leather shoes, right, like they used to, you're completing the circuit.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's just, there's sitting in front of these computers all day, sitting in front of our phones, with the EMFs, and it's even more vital that we do these practices on a regular basis. Um, I'm always laughing at my husband's students. He teaches piano, and the kids. You remember, how kids are kind of, they get a little skeeved by bugs sometimes, but not
Yeah.
so bad. These children are profoundly terrorized by little
Mm.
bugs in the studio. I mean, they're like in terror
Yeah.
of them. My God, there's a
Yeah.
bug! Ah, ah, and they'll run, and some of them will leave the studio.
Yeah.
And I think that's because they're not out in nature enough,
Yeah.
right? They
It's this
they
disconnected,
don't
you know.
know, right? I mean, my brother used to chase me around with daddy long legs,
Yeah.
there's a disconnection. Yeah. So and I know this is something that people have been speaking about for a while now. But I feel like, again, it is absolutely crucial that we really take a look at this and take it seriously, because there is so much evidence pointing to the need for this in our society.
Yeah. And like you were mentioning about being on these technologies more, the computers, our phones, and I can feel it now, maybe because I'm in the practice more of vibrational sound therapy. So with vibrational sound therapy, to me, it feels as if it's a clearing, it's a detoxing energetically. And also, it makes you more receptive to feel energies. So, when I'm holding this device for even if it's 20 minutes, maybe trying to do business on the phone, I can feel that energy
I
in
can't.
my arms. So
Wow.
it's crucial. Either something I love to do is on a sunny day, even if it's cloudy, the sun, we're still receiving the sun's rays. It's like placing my hands facing the sun, to using the sun's energy to clear my energy portals. Also, vibrational sound therapy, playing the instruments, or just placing my hands on a tree, running my hands through maybe some filtered water, or holding a crystal,
Holding it.
rubbing my hands and with a crystal. So finding these modalities, it could be as simple as just placing your hands towards the sun, placing your hands on the ground, on a tree, to clear ourselves from these EMFs from our devices, and just limiting our time also. If we're spending 30 minutes on these devices, then spending at least 30 minutes or more out of them detoxing.
Oh
Detox.
God. I was excited when you said about that, about feeling it. I have been feeling it too. And my hands, I do a lot of computer work, so I'm always concerned about, carpal tunnel and all that crap. But when I hold that iPhone for too long, I absolutely feel this achiness in my
Yes.
hands.
Yes.
Interesting, right? But why wouldn't it be? It's radiation. You're
Yeah.
getting radiation poisoning. Hello.
Yeah.
And it's not, I love it. I love all the technology. I think it's made our lives so much easier. It's made this type of thing possible. But again, if you're going to use it, let there be a balance, right? Let there be that balance. Everything in moderation. Go outside, put your hands on the ground, right?
Hands on the ground, on a
Right.
tree.
Yeah, yeah,
Just,
absolutely. No, it's fascinating, right? I love that. I love, love, love that. Mm, yeah. Something else that I think is very helpful, and as a musician, of course, music has been an enormous part of my life, and I work with the voice, with other people, helping them to express themselves through their voice, not only express their feelings and emotions, but also just clearing your body out like you can with vibrational sound therapy. It's a clearing. And the other day, actually, it was last week, I was painting my bathroom.
so fun.
It's spring, so you got to paint, right?
I love it. What color?
It's a gray, like a dark
Oh,
gray.
beautiful.
It
Yes.
was a light pink, and now it's this beautiful, it looks very, very rich and very elegant.
Nice.
Love it. To help me work a little more effectively, I love listening to music. So I put on the Doobie Brothers.
Mm.
And the first song that comes up is What a Fool Believes. And I swear to God, it was like within the first 10 bars of the song, I found myself crumpled down into myself sobbing.
Wow.
It triggered this incredible release for me of grief. And many of you know from my YouTube channel, if you watch some of my videos, you know that I lost my family, my mom, dad, and my brother by tragic circumstances before my age of 30. And I guess it was a little bit more that needed to be expressed because it just took music is so evocative and it triggers those parts of the brain from memory. And also triggers our subconscious. And if you are holding anything back and there's a trigger there, it will bring it right up to the surface. So, but what I did was I thought was cool was I wrote it out. I in my mind's eye, I connected with my little girl and I said, we're just gonna ride the waves, honey. I'm not gonna abandon you. We're gonna move through this. And I was crying as I was laughing, as I
Um,
was crying and laughing, alternate singing, you know, and it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing the way to be in that kind of pain, as it were, that grief, but be okay about it. Just be like, I'm just going to write it out. I'm going to allow myself to experience this fully so I
yeah,
can, right? And not try to stop myself from crying or judge myself.
yeah.
It was amazing.
How beautiful. What a beautiful gift that you really gave yourself and you freed yourself probably years, years. Did you feel lighter after that? Like, how did you feel?
Oh, yes, much better. Oh, yes, definitely. Because I had been, a lot of us might be feeling, I think I spoke to several people, yourself included, we're feeling a lot of up and down, almost like roller coaster emotions and
Yes,
feeling tired, very
yes,
tired. Yeah. So there's something going on here for sure in the collective.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
I've been noticing, especially like I've already mentioned, the more that I am practicing these modalities, the more, I don't know if the word is sensitive or maybe just in tune to everything. And that's also being in tune with the sun rising, the sun setting, and the many phases of the moon. And about 2 weeks ago, recently we had a full moon, but I started to experience all of these emotions and shifts within me like a week before the full moon. So there is something to that. The more connected we become with ourselves and with the cycles of nature, the seasons, the cosmos, right? As above, so below, that saying. Yeah, how are we not to think that we can't be affected or influenced by nature,
Absolutely.
by
And
planets, by
well, and isn't it all vibration when you come, not to sound so use a hackneyed phrase, but yeah, everything is vibration. There is the vibration of the universe, the vibration of the celestial bodies, the vibration of our own planet, which affects our body, the vibrations and frequencies of our bodies. So how could we not? And how much of it is attributed to other things, when it's really just being in the ebb and the flow of how the vibrations and the frequencies are shifting and moving through us. Don't
yes,
we kind of think, that we're somehow impermeable,
yeah,
impervious?
yeah, yep,
Our bodies are just solid. Sorry. To dispel
yeah,
that. Yeah, this is all moving. It's all connected to the outer part of us, which, we think, if you think of yourself as being a fish in water, we're in the water. We are the water. We are the water. So of course we're going to be in the water, but try to be in the ebb, as I said, the ebb and flow, the way the water moves in and out of us, and the frequencies and the vibration move in and out of us and affect us. And that's why I think sound therapy, sound healing is is going in the right direction with that, with healing. Edgar Casey said sound and music. If that is attributed to Edgar Casey saying sound and music will be the medicine of the future. I do believe that with all my heart. I think we're seeing it for sure right now. Um, the experiences that I have heard from my clients, you have heard from your clients, absolutely support that. that there is, as you say, this is medicine. It's medicine of a very profound kind. And it's very difficult, I think, for people, and myself included, you know, intellectually, we are sound and vibration. We're made up of, we're a symphony of frequencies. I say this in all my presentations, but do I really get that?
Yeah.
Not really, but I'm
Yeah.
trusting. But I can feel the difference in myself
Yes.
being involved with this therapy for many years now, and I definitely it's such a gift. And I just, if you wanted to, I thought maybe we could share a couple of experiences
Yeah.
some of our
Yeah.
clients have shared with
Um,
us.
yeah, definitely. Like, great vibrational sound therapy has this definition, right? There's all these words that can describe it, but do we fully understand it, mentally? No, because it's something that you experience. And this is what I hear when in one-to-one sessions and in also group settings where people will say, wow. There really isn't a word. They say, wow, what was that? I've never felt this before. There's no words. I just feel different. And because there is no exact word, especially if it's your first experience to frequency, to sound, and how the effects it has, not just on the physical, but on your mind, on your emotions, on the spiritual realm. Some people will express feeling maybe outside of their physical body because some people have this belief that that's all we are, right? Are these bodies, not that we're energy, frequency, vibration. But when they experience it in a sound bath or having the bowls directly on their body, they're connecting with that part of themselves, of us, that is energy, that is frequency and vibration. So,
Absolutely. And just for our audience, there's different types of way you can receive sound therapy. A lot of us are familiar, just to clarify, a lot of us are familiar with the crystal singing bowls, those beautiful white or colored bowls that people have, the alchemy bowls that are infused with precious metals and gems and so forth. That's one way of healing, and it produces a different kind of wave. It produces a sine wave when you rim sing those bowls. You've seen, a lot of people have seen that, okay? And that sine wave gets you into that what they call the hypnagogic state, or the state between sleep and wakefulness, the alpha or the theta brainwave state. The vibrational sound therapy, that is like a phrase. I don't know if the Vibrational Sound Association, that is their phrase or not, but what we both are certified in is a modality where you both do the crystal singing bowls with the one-on-one and also virtually and also in groups. But we also do a modality where you will lie fully clothed on a massage table with a blanket over you, and we will put metal bowls that are on your body that are designed to vibrate down into your body, and it gives you like an inner vibrational massage. So when we speak about sound therapy, we're speaking about both of those modalities that we both of us do, and that people have come to, both our individual and our group events. So I just wanted to clarify that for folks because it's a little confusing, you know.
yes. No, thank you, Ruth. I forget because we're doing it
We're in
and
it. Yeah, we're
we're
in
in
it.
it. So
Absolutely.
I forget
Yeah, we're in it.
that, yes.
But Bertharis and I both do both of those. We work with the crystal singing bowls. Certainly crystals are extremely powerful. I just put my babies outside yesterday in the sun to
Oh,
charge up. Yeah, I
that's
brought everybody
great. I love that.
outside, and you can absolutely hear the difference after they've been charging in the sun for a day. You definitely hear the difference in the clarity. So, so did you want to share? I think you had said there was an experience that was pretty a wow experience, as you call it. That you wanted to share with us.
Yeah, during a recent vibrational group uh, event, a woman came up to me and she said, I felt as if I left my body and could see my body from up above. She's like, what was that? Like, how I felt like I left my body and I can see the entire group. I can see you. And she was like, that was amazing. She's like, can a person leave their body? And I said, yes. Yeah.
That's amazing. It's like in an NDE. People have said that they will float up above their bodies. Isn't that crazy how people will journey? I have several people also same exact thing. They will journey. They go on a, they'll float up and they'll go around, you know, fly out on different places on the earth and or go to um, different planes of existence even. Um, I'll share a quick experience that I had not too long ago. One of my dear friends brought one of her friends to one of my sound baths, and this gal had about a year before had lost her young son through a suicide. So
Mm.
she and I also lost my brother through suicide, and many of us know it's a very different type of grief. It's not when you get over maybe ever, but it's a very different type of grief. But for a mom to lose a parent to lose a child, I can't imagine. So she was having a lot of trouble processing this. And she went through, you know, came to the sound bath. And at the end of the sound bath, I'll always say, ask for people if they want to share anything, any of their experiences. That's when you get a lot of the people coming up to you that don't want to, they don't want to say it in the group because
Loud.
they think they're but she couldn't help her, so she just burst into tears, and I went right over to her and I said, "What's the matter, honey?" She said, my son came to me." She goes, "It was like he was alive again. He was standing right in front of me, and he said, 'Mommy, I love you. Don't be sad for me. We're going to see each other again. I'm wonderful. I feel great. Everything's fine.'" And I think that obviously shifted her to help
Yeah.
move through, you know, in her grief work. So yeah, so that was a gift, and I have heard that several times before, where people will say that their family, friends in spirit have come to visit them, and you know, if we think about the layers and the levels of frequency that we are when we are in a sound environment like that, there is parts of us that are being affected and lifted, I believe, in to a higher vibrational level, right? Like we were just talking about how we both feel that when we are in that higher vibrational state, I think it makes it easier for those that have crossed over to access us.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Have you
Mhm.
heard that from your clients as well? Something similar?
Yes, yes. And even myself, when receiving from you, even virtually is just as, in my experience, just as profound as in person, I would say. And I have experienced almost like there's this communication that begins to happen with hearing frequency. And I've mentioned this to you maybe about a year ago when I had this experience through a virtual vibrational sound therapy, where it was as if the frequency was a language in itself. I don't know if you remember me saying that to you. And I still experience that even when I'm facilitating, right? Because we're receiving, even though we are facilitating. And
It's great.
I lose myself. I get in this zone, almost becoming one with
Mm,
the frequency that's coming from the instruments, from even the other participants, right? I always say that this is a co-creation. This experience, we co-created it together. It's just not me or the instruments, it's all of us together creating this experience. And it's like unifying. That's how I feel. It's like this unification, this coming together. There's no divide or separation. And the more we can let go and open to it, that's when we could receive these messages, these experiences where we could hear through the frequency. And the more that we immerse ourselves and make it a part of our lives, it's something that will start to speak just in our frequency and our energy.
Yes, absolutely. There's a book called Music, the Brain, and Ecstasy.
Mm.
It's a fascinating look into how our ear brain, there's like an ear brain voice connection. It's like a subtle system in our body. And it's fascinating how the act of listening to music, the act of making music, singing, how it affects the different parts of our brain. Like I read that book, and it was pretty, scientifically based, of course, very fascinating. But also, it struck me that we're missing the mark a little bit with our limited scope of understanding of the quantum realm, I think, when it comes to how we receive how we receive sound and vibration and frequency, how we are affected by it. There's a lot, because there's a lot more to us than this.
Oh yeah.
That we are discovering.
Yeah, more than flesh, more, more than this casing. And just be open to that concept, right? And I invite people to explore that concept. Those who have never even thought of, like, what is energy? What are you talking about? So it's inviting that concept of, okay, just imagine that you are more than this body that you are feeling symptoms from. And just unzippering, right? Just unzippering out of this suit, and then just see what emerges from that. And people have the most profound experiences where they say, oh my goodness, I got in touch with, like, my spirit or my soul, and it's expanding our mind.
You had brought that up earlier before we started recording, about the conference that I attended recently in Arizona. And there's something that comes to mind from what you just said about that. It's a shift in perception, really a shift, and shifting your perception, to me, is very difficult sometimes. Because it's fraught with a lot of our ego, a lot of our always way of being, a lot of our programming and conditioning, and there's a lot of resistance to that. But it really is as easy as just making a decision to look at something differently. So my husband and I went to this conference with 4 very amazing thought leaders, influencers, Greg Braden, Bruce Lipton, Dr. Shamini Jain, and Anita Moorjani, who healed from a huge amount of cancer, tumors all over her body. After she had an NDE, she came back from a near-death experience and completely healed. So these people were amazing. It was a 4-day conference. And one of the things that Greg Braden brought up was this. I'm going to put a little link to this, or I'll put the video up again. I think I did it in my last video too, but it bears repeating for those that didn't see it the first time. Quantum physicists are really studying the heart, and I know Heart Math is doing a lot of work with that as well, and Greg Braden's working with Heart Math some off and on. But here's one of the quotes: "Beyond the limits of physics, there is compelling evidence to suggest that the physical heart is coupled to a field of information that is not bound by the classical limits of time and space."
Your physical heart is coupled to a field of information that is not bound by the classical limits of time and space. What that means is there's a part of you, your heart, that has the ability to transcend the laws of physics. You are not bound by the laws of physics when it comes to what's happening in your your heart. That's the part of you that is divine. That's the part of you that accesses deep intuition, that accesses direct knowing, that accesses your imagination, your creativity, your healing, because you're already healed in that level. The illusion is in this level. Your blueprint is already healed. What you're trying to do is bring your blueprint to bear upon this physical reality.
It's like we all know that our heart, I think we all know, we talk about listening to our heart, speak from your heart, follow your heart. And from the studies that have been done, it seems like the heart is really the boss of the body. The heart is the boss of the mind-body connection. When quantum physicists start studying this stuff, and like Einstein said, spooky action, it's like spooky action at a distance. It's crazy stuff. Spooky is one of the words he used. I thought that was great because it's unexplainable. So there's, to be open, as you say, to invite people to be open to the unknown, to looking at or being okay with what you don't know, because there's a lot of what we don't know, and to approach that with like interest, with curiosity.
Yeah, this leaning in, right? Like
Right, leaning
leaning in,
in
like,
rather than fear, of the unknown. And I know it's scary and it's difficult to change your perception. And a lot of people are going through a lot of fear. I notice there's a lot of fear right now. Understandably, look what's happening in the world. It's breaking down. There's an unbelievable war and horrendous things people are doing to other people, and a lot of fires and destruction.
yeah,
But I think out of the fear, out of the destruction is going to come
yeah.
something good, something more positive, more on a higher vibrational plane.
And it's this returning to our heart, right? Since we were talking about the heart and something that fear can do, in my experience, it protects the heart, right? It closes in the heart. So creating that awareness, right, of how can I open up my heart? How can I live more from my heart? How can I surrender whatever fears I'm hearing, being exposed to? Because we do have some control in that, right? What we are consuming, whether visually, listening to, environments to some degree, begin to learn, right, what affects us. Taking that energetic inventory of, okay, these are the things that help me feel more in my power. Okay, I'll do more of this. These are the things that disable me on some capacity. Then you know what? I'm aware of that now, and maybe I'm going to try my best to limit those experiences, people, places, things, foods, all of it. And just coming back to our heart, and that could be as simple as placing your hand on your heart. I mean, I think back, and this is a recent thought I had, of in school, right? We would I pledge allegiance to the flag, and we're putting our hand on our heart and we're pledging to a flag, but how about we start pledging to what brings us peace? Every morning, maybe placing your hand on your heart and, okay, heart, how can I become more coherent with you, right? The brain and heart coherence that heart math talks about. And you could elaborate on that if you want, but just tapping back into our heart and living from that place. And this is something that I've been embodying, and starting the day with that, maybe before getting out of bed, placing your hand on your heart, taking a few breaths there, and starting your day and building that connection again from your heart, less of fear, and having that energetic inventory of, okay, what am I going to expose myself to that I have control over? How can I lessen that if that's not expanding my heart, helping me to be more open in my heart, as opposed to protecting my heart and shielding myself and closing myself off.
Mm.
So these are just some of the practices that I've been doing and some of the insights that I've gained just recently.
Yeah, beautiful, beautifully said. Absolutely. Speaking of Greg Braden again, he actually went, talked about and led us through a heart sort of awareness exercise, and asking your heart, what would you like to tell me?
Yeah,
What, right? What would you like to tell me? Just like you say, before you get out of bed in the morning, put your hand on your heart. And even though this is the physical heart, but it is a
yeah,
representation of our greater heart, of the greater heart of, I think, of
yeah,
the universe, whatever you want to call it, universe, God, the great all that is. Um, and there's something very sacred, sacred about this, right? This connection that we have with this. And I think it can quell fear, because the more you can get into your heart, the more you will find you are being guided, and listening to your heart, listening to that guidance, listening to your gut. You know, people talk about my gut, right? We were talking about doing things that feel good. You can feel it in your body when something doesn't feel good for you, right? You know it's wrong,
definitely.
right? You- So listen to that. Give that, let that be your guidance, because so many people want to have guidance from outside, from other people, from outside sources. A lot of the mediumship is huge now because everybody's looking for answers. You don't, I mean, I know they're talented and it's great to talk to people and everything, but this is your guidepost. This is your guide. Your heart can be your bottom line place to go, right? Your go-to for trusting your guidance. This is it. And as you were saying about the heart-brain coherence, sound therapy, there it is again, sound therapy can get us into that state of heart-brain coherence. Both our heart and our brain produce a measurable electromagnetic field. They're called torus fields, and torus fields come out like this, the 360. And that's, I think that's a black, like a black hole, right? There it is, as above, so below again, right? Something in the universe, the shape, the sacred geometry of that torus field is found in other aspects of our world. So when those two fields are in balance or in sync or are harmonious with one another, it's called entrainment. That's when you get into what scientists call a resting brain state. And that resting brain state is a beautiful optimal state where you can build resiliency. And we talked about, you know, how life goes like this, doesn't go like this. Oh, well, it'd be so boring, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It goes like this. So when, you know, when shit happens, we can build up and cultivate the resiliency to be on a more even even space.
Yeah.
Okay, and we can view the world and things that are happening around us with equanimity and grace. And that's what I've noticed about myself. It helps me to respond rather than react. The work that I've done on myself with sound and being around it so much, working with other people, has
Mhm.
helped me tremendously to expand. You know, and I know I've said this before, but it bears repeating because it really is an amazing side effect. Uh,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
There's a clarity, and that's like what you
Oh,
say.
yeah.
You don't need the singing bowls. Go outside and ground. Make some sound. Make some sound. Just be like a kid, like a 5-year-old. You can't be embarrassed, right? But that's a whole nother aspect that we'll talk about that in another another meeting. But yeah, there's so many things that we can do to help ourselves, to clear ourselves, to open up that heart space, and to connect to that our divinity. It's another piece that they were talking about. Our divinity. We are not taught that we're divine. We are. Why we are? Because we are part of the divine, right? So we ourselves are divine. And that's that connection to nature, to the universe, to the celestial bodies. I think that all speaks to that.
Yeah, I mean, we are intuitive beings. And I know that word is spoken about so much when someone says, oh, I'm very intuitive, or I went to someone who's very intuitive. But I believe that we all have that capacity. Like you mentioned, mediums, psychics. I think we all have that capacity. Just maybe some of us are maybe more evolved or have developed it. Maybe it comes more natural. Maybe for some, there's a resistance to it. It's scary, right? So we close off from it. But we all have this ability to tap into our own insights, what's good for us, what isn't. And we feel that, right? You mentioned that. We can feel that when we walk into a room, right? When we meet a person for the first time, sometimes we can feel their heart even before we hug them or shake their hand, or, and like you said about the voice, there's so much that could be heard, right? Experienced through the tone of the voice. Even with the unspoken word, we could hear in between the words that are spoken, and energetically, I'm saying emotionally, hear what a person is really saying. So we are amazing beings.
Yeah, we have so many ways of connecting to, as you say, the information that is being provided to us from the outer and inner world. And it's really just developing. And I think the first step in that is awareness. It's accepting. It's allowing. Allow that there are things that you do not know. What I don't know, I don't know. Allow that. Allow an opening for those things to come into your knowing or come into your awareness, or at least allow yourself to receive that information, to be open to receiving it without locking it, as you say, without. Yeah, so totally, they're very interesting. I wonder why some people, I do, as you say, I agree with you, and that many more people are much more interested in the unseen world of sound, voice, and vibration. Beautiful conversation.
Yes.
Is there anything you'd like to say before we break? To add?
We spoke about so many things. I'm looking forward to having, yeah, I'm looking forward to having more of these conversations. There is so much to share. I feel like we are just at the beginning of so much more that is to happen. And yeah, I think the key today was building an awareness, right? Just being open to the unknown, to living more from your heart, and just to really take in inventory, right? And evaluate of what we consume, not just food, but what we're listening to, the surroundings we place ourselves in. These are all little things that we build power in ourselves, calling back our power.
Excellent. I feel that it's coming, that people are allowing more room for this now. Thank you. Thank you so much. And we'll talk soon. See you next time.